Go.
This is the King of Connecticut sitting next to UFC Hall of Famer and Shoot Pro Wrestling President Pat Miletich, the Croatian sensation. And here on my right is Scientific Wrestling President and founder of Shoot Pro Wrestling, Jake Shannon. Guys, we have an exciting matchup coming up in North Dakota. But before we get into that, Pat, tell us your thoughts on the history of Catch as Catch Can.
Well, I mean, that's undeniably, the legends, that we're doing this, and since the beginning, the inception of humans, they've been grappling, wrestling, in combat type elements. And the 1800s into the early 1900s, those guys were, doing massive matches against each other, against the terrible Turks, against a lot of legendary, scary human beings at the Minnesota State Fair, the Iowa State Fair. They have crowds of 50, 60, 70,000 people. I mean, I fought in front of some pretty big crowds, but that's impressive stuff.
Absolutely. And Jake, you and I have a lot of personal history. One of my friends and mentors, like a second father to me, was Billy Wicks. I know you were so close to Billy Robinson and to Carl Gotch. Give us your thoughts on the history of catch wrestling and the Scientific Wrestling brand that you created.
Yeah, thanks. So, Pat's right. Like, if you really take a historical perspective on this as a sport, it's actually really shocking because Catch as Catch Can wrestling is quantifiably the most impactful combat sport, and I would argue even sport, in all of history. Because from Catch as Catch Can, which very simply put is a rule set that says you can wrestle with submissions, you can win with a submission, or you can win with a pin. That particular rule set, like Pat was saying, was drawing tens of thousands of people back in the day. More popular than boxing, more popular than football, anything of that nature. Well, think of the derivatives from that sport. Freestyle wrestling was originally called, for the Olympics, was called amateur catch as catch can. Scholastic wrestling that we see in the NCAAs, amateur catch as catch can. The first mixed matches between jiu-jitsu, wrestler, boxers all happened because of Catch as Catch Can. This is going back over 100 years ago, already happening. Then you have pro wrestling, you have MMA. So this is a massive, huge sport that nobody's ever heard of. And that's what we're here to change.
Absolutely.
And not to interrupt, but the really cool thing, there's a book called Tigrero out there, and it's about two Russian brothers who went to Brazil for the Diamond Rush in 1921. Think of that year. I've got a book with Earl Lederman instructional from 1921.
Yeah.
But in 1921, during the Gold Rush, Sasha and Ernst Semmel were both accomplished wrestlers and boxers from Russia who went there. They were also engineers, and while they worked their way through the Amazon jungle from ranch to ranch and city to city, they would take on Paraguayan strongmen and all kinds of people like that in Catch as Catch Can matches back
Challenge
in those days.
matches.
So it was worldwide. It wasn't like it was just in America.
Well, and to Brazil in particular, the luta libre is the Catch as Catch Can of Brazil.
Sure,
Absolutely.
sure.
So it is everywhere. And for us to be able to bring this amazing sport, really show the incredible athletes performing under this really unique and influential rule set is very, very exciting. We've got two really fantastic human beings on this card.
Absolutely. And to expound upon that, what's old is new. We all know, combat sports fans, there was a new company that was founded that was a merger of World Wrestling Entertainment and the Ultimate Fighting Championships. It's called TKO, ownership of Endeavor and Ari Emanuel. So wouldn't you guys agree that the time is prime now for a shoot pro wrestling, a grappling competition where you win by pin or submission.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because that's really the whole crazy idea that we're trying to put off here is, what if professional wrestling was a sport and not theater?
And what if we went back to the future?
Exactly. What if we went back, now that MMA has really done so much to waken people as to what a real fight actually looks like? So you can't get away with pro wrestling like as it is today, or you can't get away with blood sport, Van Damme. People, I'm old enough to remember when people thought that shit was like the cutting edge. It was like a joke. But now we can reintroduce real catch as catch can, real competitive professional wrestling as a sport.
Absolutely.
We even do tag teams, and it's
Definitely.
amazing.
You've done it, and it's exciting.
Yes.
It's amazing. And guys, I want to take this to a personal level, because we both, all three of us, have friends that have been impacted by TBI and CTE. And the rule set here is also safer, and it gives wrestlers, collegiate wrestlers, international wrestlers, grapplers, the opportunity to compete and make money in a sport as we build and grow this without the CTE and being able to be functional into their later years.
Well, it's much more exciting. I mean, if you think back into the days when guys were having catch matches that lasted for hours and hours, in my personal opinion, that's what led to the theatrics of
Yes.
professional wrestling, to speed it up,
Yep.
to program it a little bit, and yeah, make it more exciting potentially for the crowds. But with the rule sets that are put in place, it's important that all of that has been put in place to keep high-paced matches going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
rules are really fun because, to what you were saying, yeah, like, and this also happened in the early days of UFC with no time limits.
Yeah.
You realize that, okay, now I need to make a product that's sustainable in a marketplace. It actually has to sell.
It's called a pay-per-view window.
There you go. There you go. So the thing is this whole thing with TKO is very fascinating because, honestly, I feel like this merger has been preluded by the work that I've been doing with Scientific Wrestling and with Shoot Pro, and it just, to me, seems like a proof that this is how the world's merging. Like, this idea of having, I mean, I can only imagine how long until they stumble on the formula that we're already working on of taking the professional wrestling and merging it with MMA and creating this new, old
Okay,
sport.
guys. Yeah, absolutely, guys. And let's talk now about what's going on in North Dakota. Jake, when you approached me about this, we've been talking for 2 years
Yep.
together about getting this going. I talked to some coaches back home at my alma mater in Connecticut, and Coach Charlie Votto gave me one of our most successful wrestlers in the history of Norwalk Wrestling. Just spoke to him an hour ago. A young man by the name of Brandon Riggins.
Brandon Riggins.
Now,
Okay.
Brandon Riggins, he was a 2011 Connecticut state champion. In 2012, he had a perfect season, undefeated, won the Connecticut State Championship, won the All New England Championships, segued into a collegiate career, was a two-time junior college All-American out of Springfield Community College. He is currently a police officer. He is a lieutenant in the Army. He is shredded. He trains hard every day.
Did you see the pictures of him?
Yes.
He looks fairly well put together.
Oh yeah, this guy's just think like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And as a storm rolls in, we're going to kind of wrap this up, and we're going to tell you that his opponent in North Dakota is going to be none other than Bear Bennett.
I'm really excited.
Now,
This is a
Pat,
great booking.
Jake, I had the opportunity to speak extensively with Bear, and he is currently the high school coach for Reagan High School in Wisconsin. He is a lifelong wrestler, and he is a cage grappling champion. He competes for a promotion that was headlined by a mutual friend of ours recently, King Mo. So he is absolutely no slouch. Two quality competitors. And guys, now we're going to take you to the training, the inside training of Bear Bennett and Brandon Riggins. Thank you, guys.